Shut up! You don't think Ryan is famous?
Cousin Ryan.
You gotta...
Hey, what's up, YouTube friends and family? It's Cousin Ryan.
Second Cousin Ryder here.
And we have got a new series of videos we want to do. This is the first.
The first of
And
hopefully many.
I like the way you said hopefully many, because I was going to say hopefully not the last. They both mean the same thing, but there
One's a
seems
little
to be
bit more
more
hopeful.
optimism in you than no. We will do this. The plan is to review, react, talk about our favorite episodes of Pete and Pete. Pete and Pete is The Adventures of Pete and Pete is one of my all-time favorite Nickelodeon shows from back in the day. I think it is absolutely one of the most brilliant TV shows for kids and for adults now. To go back and watch and see some of the stuff in it, the
It had some
absurdity.
pretty smart jokes in that.
It really did. Like, and I've Chris Viscardi and is it Will McRobb, the writers of the original show? I think I got their names right. Gosh, here I'm a big Pete and Pete fan, and I'm like stumbling over the names of the writers. Have said it almost became a game to see what they could get past the Nickelodeon execs. Like, they almost didn't even care. They just had their little show on Nickelodeon, and nobody paid attention to. So they got all these funny jokes and things like slid through under the radar.
And there's plenty of them in the first episode we want to talk about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the first episode we want to talk about, because it is the 4th of July.
And it's a very unique episode.
It is a unique episode. It's called Grounded for Life. And I want to back up just real quick. We will in future videos, by the way, get to the point a lot quicker. This being the first one, I feel like we've got things to say about the direction of these videos.
Set the foundation.
I've always found, even like with our music video reactions and things, the gut reaction is to do your favorite stuff immediately first, and then later on down the road, when you've kind of polished and found your groove a little bit, it's like, oh man, we wasted the good stuff trying to figure things out. This is a great episode, but it's not my favorite episode. My favorite episode stars none other than Mr. Tasty himself. Yes. What we did on our summer vacation, and that's one that we will look forward to doing in the future. But this one, Grounded for Life, it's the 4th of July. It's 4th of July night. Hopefully you guys are having a good time with your family. If you're celebrating the 4th of July, you've either already watched fireworks or going out to watch fireworks. It's such a great fun family holiday, and there's not many TV shows
that have a 4th of July
the 4th of July, because most shows go on hiatus over the summer, so they just don't film summer themed episodes. So that's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be our first episode, is Grounded for Life, that takes place on the 4th of July, and I hope we can spark some conversation with you guys on this trip down memory lane. This episode is a 4th of July episode, and like every other episode of Pete and Pete, they take these things, either urban legends or just rites of passage of childhood growing up.
Childhood kind of oriented things.
Yeah, and just blows them up into these like surreal, almost as if you're watching a kid's imagination play out in real time. You know,
it's a little off the wall.
Oh, totally off the wall, but
kids'
minds are off the wall, though.
Yeah.
You know, the imagination is off the wall, so it's just the things you see are like, all these things could have happened, but it's the way the kids remember them with their imagination. I think, again, Pete and Pete is just brilliant.
It's almost like you can't remember the episodes in a wrong way.
Right. So, just a brief summary of this episode. Little Pete gets in trouble, gets grounded, is in danger of missing the fireworks on the 4th of July, and it's just such a fun episode.
Something I really related to with this episode was Lil Pete's excitement for the fireworks.
Okay,
and having that, it's something I don't feel like you think about too much until it's like right around the corner. So, oh my God, 4th of July! The fireworks and the explosion and the smells in the air, and
right?
That summer feeling.
There's not that anticipation for the 4th of July like we might have for Christmas or Halloween or something.
It's like in the moment, like, oh my God.
Right. And you know what's interesting too, now that you bring that up, if I might like divert just a little bit, 4th of July happens at the beginning of July. There's not really this like, so if July 1st happens and then it's like, oh man, the 4th of July is in a few days.
Yeah.
Halloween, it's at the end of October. October 1st is like the beginning of the Halloween season.
Maybe even like a couple days beforehand, just so people start decorating and getting everything ready.
Christmas is at towards the end of December. you've got December 1st or Thanksgiving as that benchmark of, okay, after Thanksgiving, December 1st, whenever, it's now
It's
the Christmas
Christmas.
season. 4th of July doesn't really, it's like just summer,
Yeah.
you know. Cool. So do you have, so if that's something you connected with this episode, is there anything that you thought seemed a little bit outdated or...
Oh, just, I mean, with the little Pete, getting the way he got grounded was...
Oh, let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So this episode, Pete and Pete, the whole reason he's grounded is... Sorry, I did step on you a little bit.
You're fine.
But okay.
Go for it.
He takes a humidifier and a dehumidifier and turns them on right next to each other.
At the same time.
His dad is in a
lawn
war with a neighbor who has the best lawn for the summer. So now there's this huge scorch mark. Dad's upset. Pete's grounded for life. Not literally for life. To a kid, it's for life.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rye. What were you going to say about that whole situation?
So, with something like that, like, obviously...
In your generation.
Yeah, we'll say with my generation. I feel like nowadays, especially, like, you could just look something up like that and there's no, like, excitement or thought or imagination behind it. It's
you
just...
mean towards experimenting? Like...
Yeah, like, figuring something out with that.
So what you're saying is, like, there's now with internet and Google and everything, kids don't have that reason or as much reason to, hey, what happens when we do this?
Yeah,
Let's
and
find
I'm not saying like Google is like this new thing. It's like just out for this generation. Like we had it. It's just it wasn't like a thought that went through. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna Google it. It's like, oh, let's see what happens with this or whatever. Or you go and ask an adult.
I'm just gonna throw this in here. This doesn't specifically pertain to something I didn't connect with this show or this episode. Video games were always a big part of my life growing up.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't this habitual, like, that's just all you do is lock yourself in your room and play video games. We did do other things. We went outside and played and everything. But one thing that Pete and Pete lacks, nobody's ever playing video games.
No one's ever really playing inside, period.
No, that's what I mean. That's something else that makes this show amazing. It doesn't matter what time of year it is in the episode. They're always outside in the neighborhood doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Even for us, we'd go swimming in the summer and come home in the air conditioning and play video games after we went swimming. Like, video games are always... Anyway, so it's just interesting to me that video games are completely absent from the adventures of Pete and Pete.
The equation.
I think aside from little Pete in this episode, the other main character would be the father.
Dad. Otherwise,
just known as Dad. Here's something I relate to about this. It always seemed like there was one of those things you would do as a kid that inadvertently pissed off your father. Like, I didn't, we use Little Pete. Sorry, there's a lot of Pete's here. Little Pete's experiment with the humidifier and dehumidifier is that, like, something you totally do innocently because you want to find something out or you're just having fun, and it ruins something.
Whether it's, like, minorly or majorly.
Right. And there was no thought of consequence or anything or making your father upset.
Dad didn't care about the scientific impact of Pete's experiment.
But also, his dad is being totally unreasonable with the lawn war. I mean, he's in a fight with his neighbor who's got a control room set up to, like, monitor the whole street.
He's got
with,
flamingos that are, like, cameras
looking
over at his
which I think
lawn.
Yeah, I think that was totally brilliant, was the pink flamingo with the camera. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But it always seems like dads have these projects that they put, and they don't intend to, just like the kid doesn't intend to
ruin the lawn
or piss the father off. Yeah. The fathers have these projects, and, I'm just as guilty of it with the car stuff or,
putting it above.
Putting the Christmas lights up. Yeah. It's always this, no, we got to get this done. Before we can have any fun or whatever, we got to get this done. Pete's dad does that in this episode with the lawn. The lawn comes before all else in the family, and I think that is another brilliant part of this show, that they can single out such a natural component of, like, the family dynamic and put it on display in this episode.
And I mean, to be fair, poor guy's lost like 6 years in a row.
That's right. It does say he's had the worst lost the lawn war 6 years in a row. So he's desperate for a win.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. can totally relate to that.
All he thought about was the bet he made with our dogweed neighbor, Lerkner. The bet? Whoever has the best lawn by July 4th gets to watch the loser mow both lawns all summer. For 5 consecutive summers, Dad had lost to Mr. Lerkner, and Pete's lawn flambe was sure to make it 6.
After little Pete, decimates a little patch in the lawn, Dad just is like, in a fit of rage, he just makes him do the most ridiculous of punishments that are like,
oh yeah, because Pete's
hilarious.
like, I don't care. Pete's like, I don't care about your stupid lawn.
Or your lawnmower or whatever.
Who cares about your stupid grass?
And the dad's like, alright, this is a lesson of respect now.
Yeah.
Who cares? Well, I'll tell you who cares. Come tomorrow morning, you care. Oh, boy, will you care.
Do you care? And Pete's like, no!
No! No! No!
Turns him into a human sprinkler and...
Makes him replant one seed at a time.
One seed at a time.
Gives it a Swedish massage.
Yeah, the massage was the most ridiculous part.
And then when it came to actually being grounded.
Yeah. I liked their little argument back and forth.
You're grounded.
Parameters.
House.
Privileges.
Food and bathroom.
Duration.
Duration, I guess, was the last one, and they just zeroed in on that whole, like, you're getting grounded.
But it's that anxiety.
The anxiety of not knowing how long in those few seconds where a parent thinks about how long is it going to be.
And Big Pete puts it in, like, the best ways, like, is Dad going to show mercy, or is he going to be a parent?
1 month.
And the whole idea of what does the dad say for a month?
1 month.
It's
Something
a long
long
time
for a kid.
but it doesn't matter. I remember as a kid, even if it was a few days or a week or whatever,
It's like, oh my God.
it's forever. My whole life is over.
Might as well ground me for life.
The summer's ruined.
He'll miss the fireworks.
Can we talk for just a minute about the ridiculous moments?
Oh,
the silly things
please.
that happen in this episode that I think makes this show brilliant.
Because it's not just
comedically.
like an episode here and there. It's the entire show that has these like just off the wall moments.
Right. And I think you brought this up when we were talking about the episode before we started filming about Canada.
Oh yes.
When Pete is going to run away to Canada.
Takes a riding lawnmower
Right.
and goes all the way to the border.
All the way to the border. And a brilliant, just a quick little thing that is so like, just like almost like a throwaway gag. But as he approaches the border, which is basically just a drop gate with a
Toll booth.
Mountie at the toll booth, there's 2 guys walking away from Canada in full hockey gear with hockey skates and everything, and it's like, what a way to throw in something that's so iconically Canada, but then to have 2 hockey players at the border. I thought that was
Just the absurdity.
hilarious.
And I thought it was funny because their mom has a plate in her head, and the dad was using her as like a radio frequency to try
almost like a police scanner,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Following Pete, yeah.
He's like, give me something, and it's like,
Yeah.
lawnmower, whatever, on Highway 4, and they're like, he's going towards the border.
Highway 4 is going to the border.
Let's talk about Pete tunneling out of the
Oh,
house, which I
yes.
think is just such a fun part of this episode. Like,
So absurd.
so absurd, and like as a kid being grounded, like just trying to figure out any way you can get out of the house. So Pete's gonna tunnel out of the basement and make it over to the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
And he's using a statue of Liberty like paperweight
Yeah.
from a desk that he's just digging this whole thing.
He uses
this
Christmas
whole tunnel.
lights to light his way.
It's almost like mining lights, like
Yeah.
hung throughout the tunnel. He uses the sprinkler nozzles to breathe, and
That's how he talks to Nona, the new girl in the neighborhood.
right. They end up communicating through the hole in the sprinkler head.
And he just gets dynamite out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, he's got a wad of dynamite for blasting blasting holes in the
Like the rock
tunnel.
or like the
Yeah.
more dense dirt that you can't
And
just
it
like
shakes the whole neighborhood. Nobody questions it. Nobody questions the explosions. Nobody questions where is little Pete. Like
Yeah.
he's gone down
There's
this
an
tunnel.
absurd
and-
amount of dirt.
Yeah, the dirt. That's the other thing. They're putting it in the coffee.
Big Pete,
coffee
he's
maker.
hiding it.
Yeah, Pete is Big Pete is complicit in this whole thing. Like he's helping little Pete get
Oh
out.
yeah. He finds his artistic side. He just starts making like pots and
Yeah.
stuff.
Helping
Yeah.
Pete helped me discover my artistic side.
Nona, the neighbor, she's just moved to town and misses her old house, so she's putting photos of like the bricks on from her old house up on the new house, which I think is kind of one of those cool like little kid things. Like that's how they would cope with moving. You know.
Yeah, missing like home.
Missing
and,
home.
Something else, which is like it evolves over the episode, is when their dad comes out and sees that Nona's talking to the lawn.
Oh,
Obviously,
right.
because she's talking to Pete, but
He
the
thinks
dad
she's
can't
talking
know.
to the lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking to your grass that helps it grow.
And so she's like, "Oh, it's a
botanic fact.
Scram.
And weirdly enough, I think it's just for the show. It like does. Because the dad lays out there late at night and just like petting the grass and
It's
just
a
like
little bit sexual. Like
he develops like a little bit of affection towards it.
yeah, it's a little bit creepy.
Because he's like, I'm gonna go say good morning to the grass and stuff. Like
yeah.
it's like his new girlfriend.
Soft, fragrant tendrils caress the backs of my feet.
What a nimrod!
Something I wanted to bring up about this was at one point, because the dad's grass or lawn is doing so well, because as Pete's tunneling, it's like dying in a path.
Mm-hmm.
So Nona like spray paints it green, talking to it is making it grow better.
Mm-hmm.
And so the neighbor's like, I'm gonna come over and sabotage. And so he like undoes the spigot, and so it just starts flooding the lawn. But Pete's under it.
Right, and the water.
It just absolutely caves in this tunnel, and he somehow lives. Like you see him in the aftermath, and he's just covered in mud. He says what sectors E through J are
Something
are like flooded or destroyed.
Yeah,
He's like totally like just ruined. And
you know, and it's funny too. That's one of those things that like you would never get away with in a kids show now.
oh no.
Tunneling like that is so freaking dangerous. I mean, it looks like so much fun.
Oh yeah.
It's absurd. You just can't do it. But the thought of like depicting that in a kids show, like, and why not? Like, you should teach your kids to not do stupid things like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a TV show. But the fact that they could get away with that back then, it just blows my mind. Like, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's great.
And I also just liked how, for no reason, Little Pete just had a prison jumpsuit with like a number or like his little like identification and everything, just out of nowhere as soon as he got grounded.
Part of that is his own mind and imagination too.
Yeah.
Just like, man, I'm a prisoner in my own home. One other funny thing I want to point out too is and it was again just another little throwaway gag. They're trying to get Nona's dog, who can't pee. They're trying to get the dog to pee on the
Neighbor's lawn.
The opponent, Dad's opponent, and Pete sticks the dog's paw into a glass of water. And that was one of those things growing up where if you had a sleepover or whatever, whoever fell asleep first, you'd put their hand in warm water trying to get them to wet the bed or pee their sleeping bag. And I just thought that was funny that could be something that I don't know if you guys knew about that when you were growing up, but it's one of those urban legends. I don't even think it works, but
I thought it was funny.
We never got it to work anyway.
Because that wasn't even like what got him to go.
Right.
Nona had a picture of this like pee spot that the dog really liked at their old house.
Oh,
and he started sniffing it, and it just shows like Niagara Falls, like fading in.
Let's go! Look at him go!
Just some other moments that I think this episode really nailed.
There it was, the most magical moment of the summer.
Was when Big Pete talked about the fireworks being the most magical moment of the summer.
Oh yeah.
And as a kid, I was fortunate enough, my birthday is in July, so like I had my birthday to look forward to in the summer as well. That was my own like little personal holiday. But really, as a whole for everybody, like that was the most magical moment of the summer, the fireworks and everything. So I just thought that was cool that they kind of zeroed in on that.
Oh, yeah.
One other thing that I thought was really great about this episode was the idea of watching fireworks with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe not just watching, maybe lighting fireworks with Dad. They didn't light fireworks together in this episode, but you know, I had that experience with my dad. I remember having you downtown when we'd stand on the parking garage to watch the fireworks from the fairgrounds, and you'd sit on my shoulders, and like it's just that moment of like sharing that. That's just something.
It's everything America stands for.
No, in our family and for many families, it's an important, rite of passage.
But they were watching them together.
I gotta tell you, like, I don't know if this isn't a moment that they nailed it, but it was the most funny moment, I think, in the episode when Pete finally spoiler alert, sorry. When he finally tunnels out at the very end.
You see the statue rise from the ground.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty pops up. Nona's there to greet him, his friend that he's been in communication with this whole time, and she's been helping him out.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I thought you'd be shorter. I am. mean, dude, that was just
so
so like
nonchalantly.
so nonchalant. Like that doesn't even hardly make any sense. That like I thought you'd be shorter, and he's like, I am. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
It makes sense, but I guess.
But it doesn't make sense.
Pete would have loved this.
Okay, so before we sign off on this episode, I got to bring up one more thing that I think is so important in the Adventures of Pete and Pete, and it becomes a character in and of itself: the music by Polaris.
Absolutely.
Nickelodeon's house band Polaris did such an amazing job with the music. Everything from the theme song to just every little bit of music that shows up in this show, I think is just amazing. I mean, and I know that's like there's better words. Amazing, sort of like the go-to, you know, but it's incredible. In this episode particularly, I thought they just nailed the moments with music. The upbeat, like, freedom you feel when you hear the song as Pete is leaving on the lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
It just, you get that vibe, that happiness of freedom, and just, you know, he's on his way.
There's nothing but the road ahead.
That's right. And then when Nona, I think Big Pete mentions her as being like the loneliest girl in the world or in the neighborhood. I think it's as she's painting the green lawn.
Yeah.
There's just this real melancholy music playing, and it's like sad, and you really get the gravity of the situation. And then my all-time favorite Polaris song next to the theme song, Waiting for October, I think is such a great song. And that actually, it's funny that it takes place in this 4th of July episode, but it really is featured in the Halloweeny episode, which we'll hopefully review in the future. Mm-hmm. But Waiting for October, I think, is great because it ends the episode during the credits. Like, it starts playing as as they're wrapping the episode up.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly.
Big Pete's narrating kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they didn't do this on purpose, but they put it in there. And it's like after the 4th of July.
What's the next big holiday?
What's the next big? It's Halloween. You're waiting as a kid. You're
waiting for October.
You're not waiting for school to start at the end of summer. You're waiting for Halloween. Like you're waiting for October. I don't know. I just feel like
it fits so
I hope
perfectly.
that they did that on purpose. If not, it was the happiest coincidence ever. But, these guys are genius that created the Adventures of Pete and Pete. So I can't help but think that wasn't on purpose. I mean, that's awesome. Or I can't help but think that was on purpose.
Yeah. They like somehow like encapsulated that kind of like this summer childhood kind of bliss.
Yeah.
Like even like with Hey Sandy, the intro, it's just like that kind of upbeat. You
Oh,
know?
that could be my favorite like TV show theme song ever.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. Which at this point I want to ask you guys: do you know what the mystery line is in the song that nobody knows? It's either, I think it's either "Can you settle to shoot me," or Let's see. Have you picked your target yet, Sandy? Or can you? Somebody somewhere said, "Have you sailed the Shimba?" And I don't know. I just that doesn't.
Have you sailed the Shimba, or have you picked your target yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's "Have you settled to shoot me?" I don't know. It's indiscernible. But what do you guys think? Do you have any opinions on what that line is? And do you have anything else in our future reviews that you'd like to hear us talk about in regards to the Adventures of Pete and Pete, or for particular episodes? Mm-hmm. What you'd like to hear, our opinion be, or maybe Ryder's perspective on an older TV show? Let us know down in the comments.
And just let us know if you like this. Just, we
like
it.
We're gonna keep doing it whether you like it or not. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, I'm not kidding. We are gonna keep doing it.
Just for fun.
Because we're having fun doing this. This is good father-son bonding here over an excellent TV show. So, until next time, don't stop chasing your nostalgia.
See ya.
You know, sir, it's cousin Ryan on the Hollywood Boulevard. You know, sir, he bigger than any superstar. Oliver Smith, he's some real dope bar. Some of them sweeter than any chocolate bar. Boom! Hey.